What happens when you are a tomboy teenage girl that lives all her life close to her best friend, who then she actually falls in love with? That is what we find out with Tomo-Chan is a Girl, a phenomenal show produced by Lay-Duce, based on the hit manga by Fumito Yanagita. We're going to talk about all the craziness that is Tomo-Chan is a Girl here today on the Amateur Otaku podcast. I'm Brandon. I'm joined by Jamie.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for having me.
And Micah.
I can't.
So, you okay? Isaac.
Hiya, papaya.
Hi. Don't understand. Yes, today the Amateur Otaku podcast. We're talking Tomo-Chan is a Girl, the new amazing, awesome, romantic shonen. I mean, it's a great rom-com more than anything. Now produced by Lay-Duce, based on that manga by Fumito Yanagita on Crunchyroll. We're having a blast watching this show. As of this recording, we've watched the first 7 episodes of Tomo-Chan is a Girl, if not the first 6. And
so.
we have initial thoughts, we have favorite characters, character breakdowns, and we're here to give you everything we think about it so you can make a decision whether or not to jump on this show as your next show, or maybe you're watching it with us and you can share with us what you think of it. So I'm ready to talk Tomo-Chan. Jamie, this show is hilarious. And I think it's sincere more than anything because it feels very grounded with, of course, all the usual manga exaggerated animation.
Yeah.
But when you first started watching it, what were your thoughts?
When I when I first started watching it, I had legitimate concerns for Junichiro. Because like we start off, literally the first episode is like
the first sequence.
Yeah, it's like her confessing her love for him, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, bro, like I feel the same way. That's cool." And that kind of broke my heart a little bit. I was like, "Oh my god, like she's stronger than me, both mentally and physically, for just continuing to exist after that moment." But my legitimate concern was like, because the first maybe 1 or 2 episodes, I thought like Junichiro is one of those people, like maybe he doesn't see race, but also doesn't see gender for some reason. Because I'm like, I feel like it's very clear that Tomo is a girl, but he's just like not treating her as such. But then come to later find out, like, that's just the way that he treats his friends.
Right.
I don't, now I think about it, I don't know if we've seen him interact with any other girls that way as like, this is a girl that's also his friend. I think the closest we get to that is Misuzu, and they are not friends. So I don't know. Tomo-Chan's the only one, unfortunately. But yeah, that was really interesting. And then kind of going into like episode 2 and 3, I was really thinking like, is this crush gonna last? Because it seems so one-sided. Like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. Tomo might have to start looking in the market, see what's out there. But overall, though, it's pretty interesting. It's definitely not your typical like rom-com where it's like, oh my god, we're both madly in love, but we won't say anything about it. It's legitimately just like Tomo's like, what can I do to break through to you that I am a woman, I'm a female, like we could get together as long as we both agree. So
we just have to figure this out.
Yep. They just gotta figure it out.
Mike, when you started watching it, because funny enough, you're the first one to record a reaction to this. Like there is a brief first thoughts of it on our shorts on YouTube. So you're the one that brought this one to us. When you started watching it, what was your reaction, or what were your initial thoughts? Why did you enjoy it?
Mainly because comedy is like my second favorite genre of television. So the premise, it's funny, on the Chatter After Daily, Ryan and I every Thursday break down what's releasing that week, whether that's in anime, movies, streaming. And so
nice.
Dropping that week was Tomo-Chan is a Girl. That was like the only big premiere coming to Crunchyroll that week. And so we read the synopsis, we watched the trailer, we laughed, and we were like, okay, this looks fun. Especially Ryan, who doesn't watch anime, even said, yeah, that looks fun. We're going to check that out. So watch the first episode, like Jamie said. Yeah, it's a very big impression, those first 5 minutes of the show. And I feel really bad for Tomo. Like, she could not be any more obvious, any more clear. And I think that's what makes the show interesting, right?
I mean, I
Is that
don't know how obvious
we don't have
you can be when
I know. It's just we don't have the typical will they won't they type of thing. Like, will she confess her
Right.
love? No, we got that out the way. And it's
Yes.
a different set. It's a different
Yes.
reason why they're not together, which I think automatically makes it 100 times more interesting. But the character's fun. It's a hilarious show. I do, like Jamie, wonder how long the crush will last, because I don't know how long I can stay invested if Junichiro is going to continue being like the biggest idiot on the planet. But you know, the more we learn about him and his relationship with Tomo, it starts to make more sense as the show goes on. But initial impressions, it was just a fun 22 minutes, especially with the stuff we usually cover here being more action drama focused. It was a nice breath of fresh air, especially since I'm still watching Chainsaw Man. I needed a break. This was that.
I
yeah.
don't blame you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a different kind of love. That's they're getting into it versus Tomo-Chan. Tomo-Chan very reserved compared to Chainsaw Man.
Yes. And this one is very more like I can tell why you could see this not only as a good show, but also as a good palate cleanser after coming from Chainsaw Man, which is it's a tough pill to swallow at times.
Yeah.
Got one episode left. I
passionate.
probably should make a short on that.
Yes, you should. Yes,
Oh,
you
yeah.
should. Isaac, the doc, you've watched a million shows, probably, maybe. It's probably that you actually watch shows in your sleep and you don't even know about it. But I actually want to know what kind of anime play in your dreams, because that would be a very interesting. I'm pretty confident it's more than Fire Emblem. But about
my life is an anime. We have
Yes.
agreed on that since we started know each other, and it's funny that you say it's grounded, because this is when I watched it, this just feels like a reality TV with a comedic tone when I watched it. And
There's
why
a
do you
lot of
shake
that.
your head, Mike?
You're muted.
I am muted.
Matt, yeah, I'm shaking my head, Isaac, because we've known each other for what, like 6 years now. And I always say, give me the license to your life so I can make it an anime. This could have been us, man. We could have been making money off of this idea right now.
So what were your initial
Okay.
thoughts on Tomo-Chan as a girl, Isaac?
It will go into more detail when we discuss the characters and all that. Yes, because right on cue, it just it makes me think about. I'm going to sound old now, I know, but it just I recognize that scenario here. Personally, I recognize that. What the hell? And I started to laugh my ass off, as in the mangaka, the sort of like that. But heck, I can go through that later on. But I have a blast with it for a different reason than what you guys probably have.
So did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I do enjoy it.
Nice. Very nice. So when I started watching this, of course, I do like Mike said, I love how from the get-go, it literally shuts down all the tropes to let you know that they're trying to do this a different way. Because, of course, most rom-coms in history is like 75% build up to the emotional reveal, right? Which is the last 25 minutes, and you got to assume it's happily ever after, because nothing bad happens in those, right? But here, I love how, I don't want to sound cruel, but I love how Tomo-Chan just crashes and burns in the first 5 minutes, and Junichiro just reacts the way he does, because I love how that's the hook of the series, right? It's her trying to figure out how to draw his attention, and I love the introduction of Mizuzu, which is the complete, utter opposite of Tomo-Chan, but of course they're best friends. I love that Junichiro hates Mizuzu. I love how they both hate each other, kind of, because they both kind of fight for Tomo's attention, which is hilarious. I love Carol. I love every single character in the show. I love the interactions. I love how organic all the comedy is, because you know how sometimes some comedy shows will introduce characters that feel realistic, and then they'll put them in weird situations, and the comedy comes from the weird situations, not because the characters themselves are funny, right? I love how the comedy is rooted to the characters. These characters are hilarious and feel real, and like we've all probably felt that kind of dread that Tomo-Chan feels every time that Junichiro gets close to her or whatever. Like, I love how and then when they're put into situations, because they're already funny, all the situations become even more hilarious. So I love how they construct those scenes and stuff like that, and it really highlights the fun of the show. And when you guys say that, and I think it's good to jump into this, when you guys talk about Junichiro and call him the biggest idiot in the world, right? Like he doesn't pay attention or whatever. I completely and utterly disagree with all of you. because to me, it's not that he's an idiot. He's an idiot, but that's not the point. The point is that there's nothing more grounded than a 15-year-old boy that does not understand what he's feeling. And okay, the fact that the manga draws him and it looks like an old man doesn't help. I know. But the fact that he's a
15 going on 30.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that he's a 15-year-old teenage boy that's trying to understand how he feels, and the fact that he may accept subconsciously how he feels can threaten his best friend, that's a real thing. I've been through that when I was in middle school and high school. Like we've all probably been through that in one way, shape, or form, right? Like you feel like it's the end of the freaking world because okay, am I gonna say something and ruin everything? What if I don't? What if what I think it is not really that, and I just enjoy spending time with this person? Because you got to think about it. When you go back to the flashbacks when they were kids, even then he was kind of feeling because of you know what I mean. So I think that dynamic of because it starts like very one sided from Tomo, but then as the show goes on, you kind of get the feel where he's dealing with his own sense of emotions that he doesn't know what to do with them because but at the same time they both have the same fear. What if I say something or do something and then the friendship ends or so whatever. So I kind of like that groundedness of it.
Yeah, and I think that it's interesting because in some of the later episodes, I guess of like the 6 or 7 that we have so far, like we clearly know that like Tomo has romantic feelings for Junichiro, but it seems like I think Junichiro like blatantly says at one point, you know, like I admire her a lot for like her strength and like the things that she does. So I'm not sure if it's so much like a romantic kind of thing or that he's like it seems more like admiration for something, like somebody that you look up to because they did like something really great or something like that.
Right.
And like I feel like he might be starting to get like confused and think like, well, is this kind of a romantic feeling or is this just me thinking like, oh, like she's really cool? So that's another interesting part about this show. That I'm really hoping he figures it out too. Because similar to Mike, I'm like, you know, as much as I enjoy like watching this cast of characters, I'm like, if they can't start figuring things out soon, I just don't know where they're gonna go. Like, you know, I want Tomo to win. I want Tomo to win.
I mean, and you see something like this moment right here, right? Like of course he's trying to convince himself actively that cannot be Tomo. Because he finds her pretty or he finds her whatever, and he finds her delicate or whatever, and the idea that Tomo's understanding that because he doesn't accept or know that that's her, he's being delicate with her. So she's like, "What's up?" like,
like what the heck?
Yeah.
Why does he like that with me?
It's a hard thing to pull off with the show and the character of Junichiro, because again, we've been talking at length about like the introduction of these characters in that first episode. When the introduction to this kid is Tomo's a girl ? It's like, okay, I'm sorry, you can't beat the idiot allegations if that's your response. I get him being confused and flustered, but that come on, that's ridiculous. That is so insulting.
True, but also you got to figure, to him, again, I'm defending the teenage boy thing. It's easier for him to see him as a guy, because if he sees him as a girl, he has to accept how he's feeling. And some boys out there be pretty idiots and immature because you know what I mean. That's, again, I'm not saying that we don't necessarily mature. What was that?
I know.
What'd you say?
I said eggs saved the world at 12.
I mean, Brandon knows what they're talking about. A similar situation gave me a
can make people grow up very quickly, Mike.
I mean, Brandon is right. I got a massive headbutt due to a similar situation, but that's besides the point.
No, it's not besides the point. You're not doing this time. You got to tell us what the heck happened.
Yeah, because this is anime. You're talking about real life.
Again, and of course we have the weird parallel of Isaac's life being an anime. So spill the headbutt story. You have to. Do you know Tomo? Is that what you're trying to say?
It was a girl that confessed to me, and I thought she. And I didn't realize it was a love confession. And then a friend of mine that I was in the school, he was the one that told her to confess, and he called me a big idiot, and he, due to that, gave me a massive headbutt.
Oh, wow.
That's the short story.
I just love how they went with the headbutt, not like a slap.
Yeah,
or a
like,
punch.
dude, you're
It's
stupid.
Like, headbutt, really?
No, she freaking punched him. Oh, by the way, the whole physical humor of the show between them is hilarious. It's just hilarious.
Naruto Sakura vibes for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Cha.
Yes. Now, I do want to ask. So let's go through the characters one by one. We've talked about them separately. So we definitely have to talk about the main, which is, of course, is Tomo, which I just figured out because I'm an idiot. I don't have a solo of her, but that's fine. So Tomo is the red-haired, strong lady punching fiercely Junichiro's face because he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Tomo's a great lead character, by the way. I love her as a lead character, and one of the things that I love the most about the writing is that she has a very particular relationship that's differently and she has a particular relationship with every single character that's very different. None of her interactions with anybody is the same. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. She very much reminds me of a Goku kind of character. Like, he could just get along with everyone as long as you're not trying to take his plate away from him, or you're not trying to endanger his family. Like, you could probably be friends with Goku.
Just don't train with him.
Yeah. No.
True.
Tomo's a fantastic lead character. She's everything you would want in a story like this. Like, she's instantly likable. You're rooting for her the entire time. Her flaws are human flaws, and that's something we've been saying this entire time, right?
Yeah.
It's like, throughout all of the anime isms and comedy aspects, it still is very much a story about teenagers, and I think that is highlighted great with Tomo. And like you were saying, her relationships with the supporting cast, it just again highlights why she's such a strong lead, because no matter what scenario or what person she's paired up with, she's still commanding the room. She's still commanding attention. Like, none of these characters are overshadowing Tomo-Chan, which to me is a huge strength of her character.
All right.
Yeah.
And talking to the realism of the show, as a tomboy myself, I definitely relate to the struggle that she's going through. Just oh my god, is this guy stupid, or how many heads do I have to draw? But also the fact that taking on all of these like quote unquote like feminine aspects of like, oh, like let me wear this dress or like put on this makeup and all this stuff. When really, I think like the most beautiful part about the show is like Junichiro, he doesn't care about that. He just likes Tomo because of who she is. And even Kosuke says the same thing. The leader of the karate club, the boys karate club specifically at their school. So yeah, Tomo is like
that she belongs to because she's too strong.
Right, yeah. Yeah, she got kicked out of the girls karate club, I think for the second time, which is like, Toa, that's, I cannot relate to that aspect of her life, but like the mangaka did such a great job in making her like so relatable and very realistic, while also like I guess just showing that journey of like really pushing yourself to like reach out to someone or try to present yourself in a way that they can kind of ingest a little bit easier, I guess. So Tomo's great. I love her. Everybody on the show is great, to be honest.
Yeah, and it also goes back to the idea because when it comes to Tomo, it's like she thinks, or at least Misuzu kind of plants the seed, right? Like she has to be more feminine, like to catch Junichiro's attention, and I love how even though that's a main point of comedy and also exploration of because she discovers things about herself as she goes through these experiments. But the beauty about it is that with a character like Junichiro and the things that you learn because of his inner monologue, which to me are some of the highlights of the show, by the way, when you start seeing into how he feels and how he's literally questioning himself and explains certain ways that he's acted in certain moments, like that whole moment in the bus where he literally defends her honor, the whole thing at the beach where he defends her, like those moments like that where he just can't help himself, but he's going to protect her. It's like he doesn't know that he's acting like a man, like he doesn't understand it, right? Because of his age. But what I love about it is that sometimes you think because of the way society's built, because of the the way how important the idea of how people see you is. When in a high, like when Junichiro literally makes all that mean nothing because he doesn't care. He just likes Tomo for who she is as a person, what's in there. Does it? I love how they are able to use her Tomo's exploration of her femininity for her own benefit, not Junichiro's. Which to me, it's the smart thing because most of American media, it's all about the important thing is your femininity has, again, I'm not a woman, but at least that's the way it's portrayed. Your femininity is important because it causes a reaction to the male counterpart, not because it's important to you as a woman, as a person. And I love how they're not doing that. They're not making what I would say that mistake because that way Tomo-Chan can embrace all the aspects of her, and I think that's pretty brilliant. That's what I love the most about how they handle that her as a character. Because a lot of other shows go out of their way. Like, for example, everybody saw in the 90s, at least, She's All That, right? But
haven't seen it.
I'm glad you haven't, but it's kind of like the same. I love how he just comes
Why
out
do
of
you
nowhere.
shake your head, Mike?
Because that's the one thing you come to say. Like,
yeah, we've been talking so much, and the interjection is you haven't seen it. That's all. It's like, oh wow, no other point. Got it.
Yes,
it's cool.
But I love how that's one of the few movies that kind of encapsulates a little bit of that, but doesn't go as deep as Tomo-Chan does. So I think it's brilliant and it's fun, and it makes it more grounded. Because I mean, the last thing we need is someone else talking to girls and say, "Hey, you need to be this to be perfect." Well, no, you can just be yourself. That's all really that matters. Which I think is a great thing to always preach in these kind of stories.
And they definitely do make similar statements, about Tomo's strength and her like always being like the strongest girl in the room, I guess, compared to the other girls. So she's always like grouped in with the guys. Like clearly you have like manly strength. Like you should not be that strong. So you should go hang out with the guys. But even with the guys, she's out of place because she's the strongest one there too. So it's like
Yeah,
she's just a strong
Built
person.
different.
She is literally built different.
I gotta see her like just crushing the egg like that TikTok. Built different. That's what needs to happen now. But also
Yeah.
when you have her paired with like Carol and Mizuzu, like they are strong in other aspects of life that Tomo-Chan isn't. So I
Right.
love how you're able to explore that dichotomy because those are the kind of things that make character whole. Like you
Mhm.
don't want a character that's perfect. You want a character that's trying to be her best self. And her
Right.
best self is not what other people think. It's what works best for her. And in the future, hopefully, how Junichiro ended up, hopefully figuring it out.
Yeah,
Dumbass.
I hope so.
But yeah, we talked a lot about Tomo. We talked about a lot about Junichiro. We definitely got to talk about a certain small evil mastermind who I dubbed
Best character
Aubrey
in the show.
Plaza. What'd you say?
I said best character in the show.
Yes. I dubbed her Aubrey Plaza, and I will never take that back. She has all the things, like she's the living embodiment of Aubrey Plaza in real life and April from Parks and Rec. Like she's just manipulating every single situation, every single relationship, but she actually cares. But it's always with this energy. This is the energy. She's just amazing. I love this character. When you first met Mizuzu, Mike, what were your thoughts?
Love at first sight, essentially, because I love everything about Mizuzu. She's such a funny character, and she's the perfect balance to Tomo as a character. And I think to me that's the biggest strength of this show is that Mizuzu, Carol, and Tomo. I don't even need June in the show, honestly. If it was just those three, I'm happy, and I think that speaks to how strong this supporting cast is because the main draw is that romance between those two leads. But I don't care if we completely pivot and just go slice of life with these three girls. I'm cool with that.
So you can have a different show
like you
with
said,
just them three, and then a different show with Tomo-Chan. Like you can, yeah.
And they do crossovers every once in a while.
Every once in a while, like it can happen.
The
You
Tomo
just shift
universe.
the Tomo cinematic universe.
You build it, and they will come.
That's perfect.
I'll be there. Why not?
I definitely, I'm in agreement. I love Mizuzu. I I was writing down and then in the notes for the show today, like I think she's like the nosy best friend that everyone needs and deserves. Even though you may not want it, but she definitely has your best interest in heart. And even if you feel uncomfortable about the manipulation, she's thinking about you. She's thinking about you.
It's all about you.
It's not for her, it's for you. She just has to put the puzzle pieces together.
All this energy is just for you.
Right, exactly. She, if Tomo ever decides, like, maybe I don't know who I really am, and Mizuzu is also like, maybe I don't know who I really am. They could get together, to be honest, because Mizuzu, she's looking out for her. She's taking care of her. She's like, even in all aspects, she's like, maybe it's your clothing. Like, let's go out shopping. She took her freaking shopping, and then she's like, hey, you know what? Exams are coming up. Let's study together. Now, granted, Junichiro did approach her for the same thing, but was he going to be as much help? No, I doubt it. I doubt it. Actually, it was shown in the show. He didn't get as high as a score. Mizuzu was second, only to be topped by Carol, which was a huge surprise and kind of funny to me.
That was hilarious. I love how when Junichiro approaches them and approaches Tomo to help with midterms, as soon as Mizuzu drops the mic, you can see him in the corner.
Yep. It's like, dang it.
That's another thing, though, right? Like even Mizuzu's dynamic with June, I think, is by itself is hilarious and great comedy, and like understanding their past and their relationship as well is so funny. And then again, her paired up with Carol is another funny dynamic. Big Wednesday Enid energy from the Netflix show. If you guys watch that, it's great.
100%.
It very much, you mentioned Aubrey Plaza. It's very much April and Anne type of energy between those two sometimes.
Yes.
But yeah, I think she's a great supporting character. And I even have in the notes here her interactions with Tomo. There's like a line here or there that make me scratch my head. Like, does she also have a crush on Tomo? Is that a thing that we're planning, or is she just that manipulative to where she's also preying on Tomo's emotions?
See, I would love it if she did, but she's doing so much work to try and get her Junichiro. I'm like, there's no way. You would sabotage a little bit if you had a crush on Tomo, you know?
She might be though. Like when you think about getting her all dolled up and dressed up, and we just went on her whole rant to why Junichiro doesn't care about that. She might be sabotaging the just big brain play.
I mean, that's true, but up until that point, I believe we didn't know that he liked like Tomo's more, I guess, undomesticated kind of life. So up until that point, you know, maybe it was the fact that she doesn't dress as girly as some other people. So I don't know. That was an experiment. So now that they know, they're like, yeah, we don't have to do that again unless you want to, but we don't have to do it again.
And then we have the beach episode. Isaac.
Yeah, the beach episode.
What are your thoughts on Mizuzu?
Remember the friend I told you about that gave me a head back? She
oh, is it she? Perfect.
Make this character a male and have like semi-stereotypes, but being also known to talk with people, and you have So yeah, I know. My life is weird, okay?
It sounds like your life is this anime.
It really does.
As he gets older, it becomes a different show.
So
different arcs.
So I know what you mean, because normally it was just you sit there talking, just get all calculated and all that. Yes, but so getting that head, but certainly made him all pissed off. But I digress. And yeah, I can agree with that. She's one of the best characters in the entire show. Yes, because how manipulative she is, and you never know what she is doing.
I post this on Twitter all the time. I love mess, so that instantly makes her my favorite character. She's the messiest character in this entire show, and I'm here for it.
Yep.
100%.
She's making things happen.
Yes, and I love how everything is calm, calculated, and she's able to beat everybody with her brains. That's it. She's the smartest character in the room, except for
when it comes to Othello, at least, and other aspects, definitely.
Let's jump into that. So then we have Carol Olston,
Carol,
aka Bubbles. So I have her in the notes. She is an amazing, clueless, and great unique addition to the cast. I love the fact, and I love also how we have all three spectrums, or at least all three of most of the spectrums of the female character stereotype. You have the tomboy,
the Powerpuff Girls.
Yep.
Well, that's true.
I mean,
Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. There you go.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Damn it. Stop being right.
You called her Bubbles. I'm just, building off what you already said.
I did. No, she's hilarious. And I love how she's also so clueless towards everyone's reaction of her. But I love that she actually absolutely, just like Mizuzu, knows exactly who she is. And of course, is a low-key genius for some reason. Because we definitely had to make her genius.
That came out of nowhere. Well, I do. So the thing that I do like about her being a low-key genius is because it at least breaks the stereotype of like a dumb blonde. Kind of. She's a well-rounded blonde, but dumb in some aspects. But I actually, when we were first introduced to Carol, I definitely had the similar thoughts to you guys, like dumb blonde, randomly just I don't know what her contribution to the show is going to be, but I grew to like her the more that we got to see of her and the more that we got to hear of her story. And the most interesting part for me, besides her being like a hidden genius, is the fact that she's also kind of a lonely goofball like Tomo, and she's literally engaged to Kosuke, and he still sees her like a sister or like a friend and doesn't really treat her like a romantic partner. So she can definitely relate to Tomo in that regard, and I think it actually goes to talk to her about that at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see like how Carol and Tomo will grow much closer, because it seems like we always see or at least later in later episodes we see Mizuzu and Carol hanging out quite a bit. So I would love to see Carol and Tomo hang out a bit more as they just start talking about their situation and maybe ways to get around it. Maybe they'll take some things from each other.
No, 100%. And what I also love about Carol is, like you said, it's like we have the immediate stereotype of the popular girl or the rich girl or the clueless girl, but then we put it on its head, and there's different ways where you can be kind of ostracized or marginalized from society.
Right.
It's never just the one thing. Something as simple as being yourself will get you excluded from everything else. Being rich makes you very lonely because you don't know who to make friends with. But also, I do like the fact that, which to me was very surprising, and I think was the touch that I mostly enjoyed from Carol's character, is that she is very aware about how socially awkward she is, which is something that's not common with characters like her, because as the relationship specifically with Mizuzu and Carol continues to grow, she's constantly asking Mizuzu, should I have not asked that? Like she's questioning, like, did I do something wrong? Because she understands that maybe she doesn't understand boundaries, or she doesn't understand when she needs to back off or whatever. So I like the fact that it's someone that's conscious of herself in that way, because there's people like that don't know what boundaries are. Oh, by the way, favorite scene, it definitely has to be one of the favorite things is, of course, when she tries to kiss Mizuzu on the cheek, and then she's walking around school with tape. It's so good. It's so good. The fact that she never took the tape off.
Such a
You're like, you know what? This is me.
Yeah.
So funny. So great.
So hilarious. The comedy of this duo right here, of Mizuzu and Carol being complete, like you said, it's Wednesday Enid energy. Is like they're two very completely different poles, but they both care about each other in different ways. I love, and by the way, can we talk about the parents too, and how hilarious they are? Like when we first meet, I honestly thought it was her older sister, but no, it's her mom. It's her mom.
Yeah. Even the fact that she just like has her sleeves over her hands, I'm like, oh my god, this is somebody related to Carol. It has to be.
Yes, it has all the tropes, and of course, Mizuzu takes after her mom, of course, because this particular moment, it was just hilarious. Like, no, I love how the glare of the glasses there. Like, I love that anime thing, like no eyes, seriousness. And when she says hi to Carol, says, "I'm not convinced."
So
hilarious.
Carol's mother, you talk about her sleeves, it just reminds me of Kyle Kuzma. He showed up to an NBA game with this sweater. He's like 6'7", by the way.
Oh my, that's a lot
so
of fabric.
imagine how long this sweater has to be.
That's a lot of fabric.
So he's essentially wearing a one-man tent. Is that what you're saying?
Oh my god.
Yes.
That is so
and it's like,
wow.
That's a thing he wore like a few weeks ago. It's so funny. It reminded me of that.
Wow. I've never seen that. That's crazy.
It is so funny.
Makes Carol's mom look completely normal.
Yeah. Or I don't know if that's just a reflection of Kyle Kuzma's taste in fashion, but
Yeah, you know.
I mean, I've only ever seen this one image of him, so far it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Maybe he watches anime. I don't know.
Maybe he gets
Maybe.
cold very, very frequently. I don't know.
maybe.
I mean, them courts be cold. Now, I do want to ask. So we've talked about the characters, talked about the show as a whole. We're
I
loving
never
it.
got the chance to mention Carol.
Isaac, here's your chance. Do it.
And I can also
That was not
say
meant to
that
be creepy, but I did it on purpose.
It was creepy. You know
just
that.
for you. I mean, figure me. That's my way of giving you a headbutt.
Not exactly the same scenario, but okay. But I can also say that these kind.
There you go.
But I digress.
That is so
It
bad.
just that was bad. I know, but it just when I say that this character is too real close to home, it just when I saw her, it was just okay. This person reminds me of someone I know in school. That we I literally sat down at lunch. She was there. My friend was there. Two of the teachers were there. It was the math and it was the Swedish so the one that learns teaches Sweden, and there were a couple of other classmates there, and they talked about relationships and all that. Then she just blurs out of nowhere, talking to the teacher, that Maria, you know that Martin wants to fuck you.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh no.
Just so you know,
boy.
guys, Tomo-Chan is a girl is a PG show, PG-13 show.
I know.
If you were to rate it, this show in particular, good thing we're.
I mean, did you see that beach episode?
Well, it was ecky at best. It wasn't like it was ecky as best.
I learned
If you didn't
today
know
that
Tomo,
all
if Tomo was a
animes-
girl, she's definitely a girl after that episode.
Yeah. I learned today that all animes are based on Sweden. I don't know what's going on there, but it sounds pretty crazy.
I'm afraid to visit Isaac up there. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to be reincarnated as slime once I land in Sweden.
I'm like, oh, you know what? Somebody in my classroom, I know someone he was reincarnated as a slime.
Now wait, now Isaac's gonna go. Oh, you know Sweden, so you know Kiki's delivery service was based on.
Yeah, it actually was.
Oh my gosh!
He literally, the Miyazaki took a picture of Gotland and Gamla stan in order to design the city that Kiki lives in the movie. So it actually, so that's actually true.
I've heard no lies.
What are the odds?
You know,
it's
anime is actually Swedish. It's not Japanese.
It's not Japanese. I don't know why I sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it happened. But yeah, when this trio is in the same screen together, I gotta agree with Mike. Some of the funniest moments and the best interactions. When they go visit, I love how we find out that she's low-key genius, not because of school, because she crushes in board games. That reminds me a lot of, I mean, I don't know, I've never played Othello, but I would assume it's maybe kin to chess or like Choku is the one?
Shogi?
Shogi, yeah. Like it's probably had to be something like that because the way Mizuzu lost and she was just completely defeated was low-key hilarious. Do we have favorite moments so far? Favorite moments so far? Isaac, you go first.
There is too many to count. I would probably say, well, maybe say June and Tomo's interaction with each other, because I think it's both hilarious and cute and too real.
Okay. Mike.
The flashbacks from the most recent episode we got.
Yeah, those are
Seeing
cool.
young Junichiro and Tomo, seeing that relationship build up. Because again, up to that point, I'm not vibing with this kid. I don't see what she sees in him at all. But getting some more background and understanding between their relationship, most importantly from his perspective, not Tomo's perspective,
Right.
I think was key in that episode too. So that for me was a highlight, and it just fleshes out the story a bit more, which was great. And of course, Carol's training montage is the most relatable thing in the entire show. You know, we have we go to My Hero Academia, right? And Deku's getting jacked with All Might for 10 months to get into UA, and he's at the mountaintop screaming at the top of his lungs. And then this was just like, I can't. It's like one push-up, I can't. That's more relatable, honestly. That's how it feels. And it was also funny because that's an interaction we don't get a lot. We get Carol and Junichiro, which is not a interaction that ever happens again, really, after that episode. Yeah. So putting those two characters in that situation was really funny, especially how Tomo misinterprets what's going on, which just leads to another.
Well, Carol's trying to fight Tomo because she's jealous or whatever. But I do love the fact that Carol, from the get-go, when she sees her reaction of Carol hanging out with Junichiro, she automatically gets it. Oh, you're into it. Okay, I'm good.
That's also our first tell of how smart she is, because she puts it together way better than Best Boy over here.
No, and I love how I was like, one push-up, I can't. One sit-up, I can't.
That makes me wonder how she gets out of bed every day.
What was that?
I said it makes you wonder how she gets out of bed every day. I'm like, not one? You can't just do one.
Well, she jumps. That's all.
Just a series of pulley systems. Just, I got it. Almost there.
Saitama's somewhere just like shaking his head in disappointment. It's like, I'm doing 100 a day, and you can't do one.
Yep.
So Jamie,
you know, she still got her hair, so you want something to listen.
Favorite moments, Jamie?
I have a few. Definitely when Misuzu and Junichiro were revealed to have had a relationship, and then come to find out it was like only 3 days, so it wasn't really a relationship. But for a good episode, I was pressed. I was just as upset as Tomo. I was like, wait, you dated and you didn't say anything? You just gonna let that one go? But then come to find out, oh, okay, so you didn't really date. I see.
Mike coming in the corner, messy.
I don't know. I think it just further threw me off guard because I was like, why would Mizuzu date? She doesn't seem like, she literally dislikes this man. I'm like, at one point, how could they have been together? So that was definitely interesting to see. Also the sleepover scenes at episode 5, that was great because I was like, finally some freaking tension. Like they do have like a little bit of tension in several episodes, but this was finally the moment where it's like they're alone, they're in his bedroom, they're just hanging out, like, you know, anything could happen. Of course, nothing really does. But at that point, it was like all cards are on the table. I feel like they both know like this is a precarious situation here. But ultimately, you know, they just go to sleep. They happen to like fall asleep next to each other, and that's the most action we got. But whew, bated breath. I was like, okay, we got somewhere. Yeah, so far. And then definitely episode 6, because dodgeball. Obviously, dodgeball episodes of anime are just going to be lit, and this was of no exception. It was great. I love that both Tomo and Junichiro got to like have their little duo special ability move against the big like gorilla guy at the end. It was cool to see them work together, and I hope we have some more moments like that, because I feel like, you know, you work with someone for a while, you get to know them, like maybe you start to like them in some ways, or at least in Tomo's case, like she already likes him, so maybe she can put some more moves on him as they get closer together.
She definitely fared better with dodgeball than Anya did in Second Son in that episode of Spy Family.
Yeah.
What I did like about this episode, apart from the fact that for some reason, I mean, we shouldn't be surprised, but Tomo is able to generate ki. But she's definitely doing the Kaioken here. Is how the results of this episode affect Junichiro's story, because how it goes, because it actually teased up the flashback, right? Because it makes him start questioning, well, I used to train and do all this to catch up to Tomo, but at the same time, when am I going to start doing it for myself? Which again is very important for a teenager and stuff like that.
All right.
So
And just for
I did
adults
find
in
that
general,
hilarious.
you know.
Yep. Oh, by the way, about I'm glad that you mentioned the sleepover scene, because this moment right here was hilarious. Out of anything that could have happened, she's already going, my grandchild's name.
She's ready.
I
Like, it's
don't
time
like
to
that they're
go
still in
out.
high school.
No, and the
You
crazy
know?
thing is that you're thinking like, oh, I guess, because the way she sets up the question, she's like, okay, maybe I thought I could wait
No
longer,
comment.
but I thought we could wait longer, but I think we need to start talking about this. And I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna go full on have the talk or whatever, but no,
Mhm.
there's no talk here. It's literally about my grandchild.
In the flashback episode, we have that weird moment where Junichiro meets Tomo's mom, and the camera pans down. His eyes just staring at one specific part of her mother. And I'm just like, this is gonna be a weird Stacy's mom situation where it's like he's actually attracted to Tomo's mother and not Tomo
Oh
herself.
gosh.
'Cause that would suck.
Stop.
Yeah.
Tomo's
You are
mom
not
is
going to ruin
get
this show for me.
going on. Okay.
This is
I
getting
know I
out of
might be
control.
wrong, but he's in love
And I
with
wonder if
Tomo's mom.
Isaac is muted because he's just dying in the background. Just
Kinda.
laughing. But I don't know, guys. So my favorite moments, I mean, they all have to do with Junichiro defending Tomo. And like that moment where they're in the bus, which again, to me came out of left field, but apparently this happens a lot and it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
But I love the fact that Junichiro was there to be like, you freaking creep. And he literally takes care of the situation, gets the guy arrested and all that. Like that kind of groundness, actually, you would think doesn't make sense in these kind of shows. But when it happens, I'm kind of glad that it does, because it adds to the relationship that they have. And like there's other moments where you're like, okay, Junichiro, I know how you feel. And when like she's being hit on by everybody at the beach, oh, Ghost defender, and then of course he goes to defend Carol. So it's like he's a gentleman more than anything. So that's where you start thinking, okay, is it because? But I love how he's able to pretend to be someone else's boyfriend. But with Tomo, no, it'll be too serious because it has to do with how it really feels. So yeah, I go back to those are what the moments or things that I enjoy the most.
That's
and
the
the
moment
show's
where I
just-
finally like, okay, I can deal with him. He's
Yes.
not all bad. It's like,
Yes.
good job.
Yeah, and the show is just funny. It's just funny
Yeah.
and perfect and great. We got another 6 episodes to go. Tomo-Chan is a Girl airs every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, I believe. In my understanding, and I may be wrong, everybody in the comments, throw me under the bus if I'm wrong. I think this book is over. It has a total of
It
8
is.
volumes, and it's done. Oh, thank you. Thank you for stepping in, Isaac. It's I'm glad to know that you're alive.
Clutch.
It's great. So hopefully, I'm assuming maybe we get another season out of this, because I doubt that they're doing all 8 volumes in these 13 episodes. But this is definitely a show that I'm gonna keep watching and enjoying because it's so fun. We wanted to end the show a little bit different. We talked about Tomo-Chan. We told you how much we loved it, how much we enjoy it, how we're enjoying the characters, moments, stuff like that, giving you all the reasons why you should watch it. So we figured we'd do something different. We're going to give you some recommendations and shows that if you've already seen, they're a reason to go see Tomo-Chan. And if you are already watching Tomo-Chan and haven't seen these other shows, if you like Tomo-Chan, you'll definitely like these others. And everybody put their different
I got
sets
lost.
just for that, you're going to go first.
No,
That's just the way this works. So
No.
Isaac recommended Horimiya. Isaac, why do you believe Why do you believe?
fuck off. But
Why do you believe Horimiya is a great follow up for someone that's watched Tomo-Chan?
Okay.
Or if they like Horimiya, why should they watch Tomo-Chan?
how should I put it? It's arguably the more serious of the other examples that we are giving based on the slideshows, and I think you can agree on that one. This is more of a drama than
Yeah,
actual
it has
comedy.
a lot more dramatic tension. Yeah.
Yeah, but it also has a lot of the whole realistic. It still has this same kind of realistic, grounded approach of relationships, while even though they focus on a different aspect of teenage relationship and all that. Yes, it's still very similar to Tomo-Chan is a girl.
Yeah,
and that's why if you're into stuff like that, you would enjoy Horimiya. It's a 12 episodes show that unfortunately won't get a second season and all, even though they have more to cover from the manga, and I do believe there was a web comic that was sort of like an epilogue for it.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. But it's an extremely cute show overall, and we did cover that. It wasn't last year, but 2 years ago. I can't recall.
Yeah, Horimiya is definitely a show that everybody should check out if they like Tomo-Chan.
Yeah.
What I like the most about Horimiya also is because I think this one's the complete opposite too, because Tomo-Chan is comedic.
Yeah.
Because it's all about figuring out will they, won't they, in a different way. Because she's trying to portray this. So this is literally the first couple episodes. It's seeing a new friendship formed and blossoming into a relationship. And then you actually see that grow and how that affects other people and encourages other people to go after who they care about. You know what I mean? So and this goes into thinking about their future. It's like it's more involved drama-wise, but it's definitely a great story with a great set of characters, and there's a lot of fun stuff there too. So that's a great pick, Isaac. I pretty much enjoy putting you first. Jamie, you mentioned like 3 different ones. I'm just gonna go. You mentioned this one, which I know it's an older one. I have not seen it. What is this about?
Jealous. Such a good show. But yeah, just to go into it, Oran High School Host Club. General premise, it's about this girl that gets I think she switches high schools and she's trying to find a club to join. And just eventually winds up joining the host club, but she has to pretend that she's a guy. And so she's getting to know all these guys. And eventually, she starts like one of them. And one of the guys is also starting to like her, but doesn't really know that she's a girl. And eventually, everything all comes out. And it's just the drama peak, the romance peak. Everything, the comedy peak. It's just a super fun show. It can't.
So it's She's the Man, but anime.
Yeah.
I'm already sold because
today.
I'm sold because we got the one dude with glasses doing the classic pose.
Yes,
that's all I need.
Doing the thing.
I'm trying to think when it came out, but you can definitely tell just based on the animation style and the way that they shaded things that it's a little bit of an older anime, but still, if you've never seen it, it's a classic. I highly recommend it. Let's see, what's the next one on the slideshow we got?
Let's do this one, this one has been catching my eye for a while. I've been wanting to watch.
Romantic thriller.
Before Jamie goes on to this one, I can tell you that Oran School High Club is from 2006.
2006.
Nice.
Okay.
That's why we keep you around, Isaac.
Thank you for that. But yeah, Romantic Killer is another really good one. Definitely different in terms of like approaching like the romance of the show, similar to Tomo-Chan. But this one actually came out late last year, I want to say. So very new or fairly new, some would say. And it's about this girl who actually avoids all kinds of romantic interactions. She only likes playing video games, she likes eating chocolate, and she likes her cat. And so one day she buys a new video game that I think is supposed to be like a. Oh, wait, Mike, you're muted.
I was gonna say that is the most relatable thing I've heard all day.
Yep. She goes to buy this new video game, which I think is supposed to be like a male harem game or something like that. And in it, there's like this little AI that pops up that's kind of like the wizard that you pull up on your computer. It's like, hey, like you want me to set everything up for you? And it turns out like it's an actual wizard. It's like, okay, so we're gonna play a different kind of game. You're gonna try and find a boyfriend, and you have like X amount of days to do it. And until then, you will not have chocolate, you will not have your cat, and you will not be able to play video games. And so instead of being like, oh my God, this is horrible, now I have to find a boyfriend, she's like, oh, absolutely not. I'm not going to find a boyfriend. I'm going to beat your game and I'm going to get all my stuff back. And so that's a really super fun anime.
That sounds like a hilarious premise.
It is hilarious. Where
I'm
she
sold
does
already.
she does end up appreciating guys a lot more and is more open to like more intimate relationships, not necessarily romantic. She definitely stands her ground, but she also is still very like, I have to work towards getting my cat back. My cat is so cute. I've knitted all these things for it. I love my cat. I'm gonna, stick to who I am. And that's what I love about this anime, is that she doesn't just become like, oh my God, now I have to like try and be super girly and find like ways to attract guys. Like she stays true to herself. Like, no, that's just not me. Like if I wanted that, I would have it already. So that's another really good one. And then my last one, which is another recent anime, but I think it's maybe approaching a year old at this point, is Komi Can't Communicate. And this is another super relatable anime now that I think about it, where the main character Komi has an anxiety disorder. And so she gets really nervous when talking to people, to the point where like at the beginning of the show, she wanted to say something to somebody, she would write it down on a notepad and then show them so they could see it. But as we start to move later into the show, she develops this goal of like, I want to have 100 friends by the time that I graduate or something like that. So she starts to build relationships with other people. And as she does that, she meets this guy that like kind of likes her and has a crush on her, but also wants to help her succeed at this goal of building friends and these different relationships and overcoming her anxiety. And so this is a really great show, not just from the point of like mental health and approaching anxieties, which is something that a lot of people have, but also presenting a solution and a way to overcome it, and seeing somebody's journey of overcoming this anxiety while also building these really meaningful relationships. And some of them happen to be romantic. So those are my recommendations. If you
That's
guys
awesome.
like Tomo-Chan, I think you guys would definitely like these.
And if you like these, you can definitely go see Tomo-Chan, right?
Right.
What I like about Komi is very, very popular. It has almost like 30 volumes of manga. Like this is a very
It's
popular
adorable.
show. Yeah. Mike, I was very surprised. I did not know you've seen Kaguya-sama Love is War.
I love comedy and I love mess. That's been the theme of the show, right? And like, that's what Kaguya-sama really is. It is a hilarious romantic comedy. Have we covered this on the channel yet, by chance?
We have not. We have
All
not.
right, well, put it on the list. We got to queue it up and talk about
I need
this
to watch
in
the new
full.
season.
It is such a good show. It's basically the inverse of Tomo-Chan, which I think makes it a very fun watch, right? Whereas Tomo-Chan, we know that she likes Shinichiro. We know that Shinichiro has some feelings for her, whether that be romantic or platonic. He may not know yet. What I love about Kaguya-sama is that our two leads do like each other, but are doing everything in their power to not pursue that relationship. And that by itself, I think, makes it kind of a fun inverse and a fun show to get into.
Crazy.
After Tomo, or if you've watched this, Tomo is probably cool, again, counter programming to Kaguya-sama. So yeah, that's my pick. It's a popular show. It's streaming on just about every platform. It's on Crunchyroll, Funimation, and I think it's on Hulu now. So definitely add this to your list because it is hilarious.
Weren't they having a movie in theaters released rather recently also?
I think
If
I
I'm
heard
not
something
mistaken.
about that. I think I heard something about that. Yeah.
Let me check.
Now,
that.
Kaguya-sama is another one that's super popular. It's a super popular show.
Yeah.
It's really good. I especially love the fact
Only
that
in
like
theaters, February. Wow, this was in theaters and I missed it. Dang it, I hate my life.
Aw. But I especially like the fact that like not only do they like each other and they're trying everything they can to like not pursue that, but they're trying to get the other person to confess first. That's the funniest part about it to
Yeah.
me. It's just like, like if you say that you like me first, then I'll tell you I like you. Otherwise, we're not doing this because I will not concede. Okay, I can't be the first one because you definitely like me more than I
So
like
it's
you.
literally psychological warfare.
Yes,
That's
yes.
literally what
Love is war.
Love is war.
It's great. I love that entire premise.
That's
It's
awesome.
so funny.
I was not expecting that to be the premise. I am so angry that I haven't seen it now. Now I want
Yeah,
to
you
watch
gotta
it.
jump
I
on
really
it.
want to watch it now. So I got
We'll
two
tackle
picks.
it after
One-
Attack on Titan.
Oh man,
Yes.
that would be. what
Oh,
a
by
switch
the
up.
way, did you guys catch the Attack on Titan reference in Tomo-Chan? Well, it wasn't like a
Excuse me,
reference.
what?
It wasn't like a reference per se, but I felt it that way because of the way they illustrated um the shading of the black and the steam coming out of his mouth when you get like a flashback of Tomo-chan's parents.
Oh,
Yeah. Looks like the
And
yeah,
Colossus,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And the dad is just like walking and it's all muscle and steam and the eyes are glowing.
Yeah.
I remember that.
That was definitely, to me, that felt like an AOT reference. It was hilarious. So
Levi,
the ones that
help.
the ones that I would recommend, and I will always find a place to recommend this because I have to, because I love it, and that's My Dress Up Darling. And just because it's an amazing rom-com with amazing characters, with a very interesting cast that's very unique, and it's about a relationship between two people that come together because they love the same thing. They love something and they respect that they love something, and they're not necessarily the same things. So it made me think a lot about Tomo-Chan and Junichiro because they really love the same things, and that's what made them friends, and something made or not blossom together. And here is them loving the things that they love separately, but that passion that they share, the idea that they both have passions is what brings them together. And also the character work is just great. It's very unique, and it's fun. So My Dress Up Darling, awesome. Now the other one, which I picked because of Tomo-Chan specifically, is Sword Art Online Alternative Gun Gale Online. The reason why I saw the similarities and I love those similarities and I think it's very interesting is because on the side of Isak, oh, I'm sorry, I just noticed that. On the side of Tomo-Chan, like trying to find her place in the middle of all the other girls or in the way that people see them, the main character of this show is very much like that. Sword Art Online is with an original set of characters. It's not with Kirito, Asuna, and all of those. And the physical obstacle that the main character believes she needs to overcome is that in real life, she is ridiculously tall. And she feels very embarrassed and self-conscious about how tall she is, like to the point that she doesn't feel she can interact with other women. She doesn't feel she can interact with other men because she's ridiculously tall, which is why when she goes into the virtual world of Sword Art Online, her character is ridiculously small. And she feels that she can become her best self that way. But then, of course, as the show develops, she finds who she is what really matters, and that bleeds into the virtual world and into the real world, and it's a very nice exploration of that. And it reminds me a lot about Tomo-Chan, and any chance that I have to properly introduce Sword Art Online to people, I'm going to use it. And this is a very underrated spinoff. It's phenomenal if you haven't watched it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac, for being polite and just taking a breather.
But guys, we've done it. We've done the thing. We've talked about Tomo-Chan as a girl. It's been a phenomenal, great time. I had a blast, guys. This is awesome. I don't know what we're going to be covering next, but don't worry. We'll let you guys know on Twitter what is the next show that we're going to be covering. And we're going to be doing these kinds of videos, breakdowns, and in-depth conversations with visuals and fun stuff every 2 weeks or so. But don't worry. The Amateur Otaku is just going to keep growing and be better. And I love how we're doing this, and I love Tomo-Chan as a girl. Hopefully, we can come back to do a quick season review when the season's over, or maybe we'll talk about other shows like Tomo-Chan. If there's a show that you guys want us to cover that's going on right now, let us know. We'll find time to do a quick first look at it. You guys have really enjoyed the first look that we did on Villain Saga and Villain Saga Season 2. If you want us to do more stuff like that in this show, let us know in the comments below. And make sure to click subscribe. Like the button, like this video, and click on the bell for notifications on our YouTube channel so you do not miss any coverage of the Amateur Otaku Podcast, where we talk anime and podcast all the time. Guys, you guys are awesome. If people want to find you, Mike, where can they find you?
Novice Cinephile here, there, everywhere, and Chatter After Daily, Collider. I'm on all the things. You'll find me there. Yeah.
Jamie,
He's even on the moon.
You.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
I'm working my way to the moon. I'm not there yet, but you guys can find me at swiper_art here on YouTube and Twitter. And you guys can find me at swiper_prime on Twitch.
Isaac, people wanted to find you. Where can they find you?
Well, they can find me over at Emblemaniac on Twitter and
Maybe in the bed soon.
no, unfortunately not. And
That's
we can work at Woban Entertainment.
And you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter. And you can find me from time to time at the Shadow After as well. You guys are awesome. Stay watching anime. Go see Tomo-Chan, damn it. And let us know what you think. Peace.